How's it going, everybody? Lucian Dev here, bringing you another tutorial video. Today we are going to set up ARK Survival Evolved on Linux. So to get started, let's SSH into our server. We'll clear that out. All right. Now, first thing you're going to need to do is get SteamCMD. You will need dependencies to run that if you've never ran SteamCMD before on Linux. I will put the dependencies on the screen now, and I'll also have them in the description below in order for you to copy and paste if you don't wish to just type it all out. All right, now that you have all your dependencies, we are going to need to change some files. So we're going to do sudo nano /etc/sysctl.config, hit enter. Enter our sudo password. Then we're just going to go all the way down to the bottom. Then we're going to type in fs.file-max equals 100,000. Control X, Y, then enter. And then we need to do another file. So we'll do sudo nano. This one's going to be /etc/security/limits.conf. We're going to enter on that one, and we're going to scroll all the way down again. Then at the end of this one, we're going to do asterisk soft no file. And then we're going to do 100,000 again. And then we're going to do asterisk hard no file, and 100,000 on that one as well. Then we're going to hit Control X, Y, enter again. And then we're going to do another one. So sudo nano. This is going to be /etc/pam.d/common -session. We're going to enter on that. Then we're going to scroll all the way down. And then here we're going to do session. Go one more down. We're going to do session required pam_limits.so. We're going to do Control X, Y, and enter. And then from here, we are going to reboot the system. So we'll do a sudo reboot. And we're going to wait a few seconds for our Ubuntu server to boot back up. Okay, Ubuntu should be back up. So let's SSH back into our server. Do our password. And if we did everything correctly, if we type in ulimit -a, our open file here should read at 100,000. In our case, it does. If yours does not say that, redo the previous steps and make sure you typed everything in correctly. All right, our next step, as we're logged into sudo still, or our root user, we are going to allow the ports in the firewall. So we're going to first check our status of our firewall to see if it's enabled or disabled. So we'll do that by sudo ufw status. Type in our sudo password. Mine is inactive, which means it's disabled. If yours is inactive as well, first thing you want to do is allow your SSH port. So we're going to do sudo ufw allow 22. I'm going to hit enter, and that's going to allow our SSH to open up there. So when we enable the firewall, we can still SSH into our server. So now we can enable our server. So we do sudo ufw enable. This is going to ask if it's disrupt their connections, all that stuff, but we took care of that already, so we can hit yes. All right. Now if we do sudo ufw status again, our status is active, so our firewall is active now. So we're going to allow a couple ports on the TCP and UDP protocol. So we're going to do sudo ufw allow. And then the first port is going to be 27015. And then we're going to do the same thing again, sudo ufw allow. The next port is 7777. Hit enter, and those are both the ports that we need to open. Next, we are going to create a new user by sudo add user. We'll call this ARK server. Hit enter. Type in the password for said user. Confirm that password. Just enter in all this stuff. Y for yes on that one. And then we can do su ARK server, su-ARK server here to switch over to the ARK user. Type in the password for it. And now we can do mkdir for make directory. Then we're going to call this, we'll just call it server. Enter, and then we're going to cd into that folder. I'll do a pwd to print the working directory. So I can copy this line right here. Now we're going to do SteamCMD, enter. This is going to initialize SteamCMD. It's going to download all the files, so we're going to go ahead and let it do that. All right, now that that is complete, we're going to do force _ install _ dir. We're going to paste that in. I'm going to add a / at the end of the path there. Then we're going to hit enter. Then we're going to do login anonymous. We're going to let that log in. All right, now that we are logged in, we are going to do app_update. And then the app ID is 376030. Then we're going to do validate. We're going to enter. This is going to download all the files for ARK. ARK is a massive game, so this could take you a while depending on your internet speed. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and when we come back, this will be done. All right, now that that's done, we can just type in exit. Then we do ls real quick. You can see we have all the files in here now. So for the config file locations, all the ini files that you need to edit your server with, they are going to be in the shooter game. So we'll do cd shooter game. Then it's under saved, which I'm not sure if we're going to have yet. Yeah. So we don't actually have that yet because we have to start the server first. So let's just go back to our directory here. Actually, no, I lied. We need to be in that shooter game file. And then we need to go to binaries next. Then to Linux. All right, and then from here, we are going to create our start server script real quick. All right, so let's do nano. We'll just call this start server.sh. And then in here, we're going to do limit-n 100,000. Or whatever number you put. If you put 100,000, then you put 100,000. Then we're going to do / shooter game server space the island for the map. Listen. We'll do -server-log. Now this is all your startup scripts. If you want to add extra things to your startup, you can here once you're done. Control X, Y, enter. And then we need to change the permissions of that so to actually make it executable. So for that, we're going to do chmod a+x, and then the name of the file. We'll just start server.sh and move my mouse out of the way. Hit enter, and then we do ls. Our script is right here. So we're going to go ahead and run this script real quick, just so we can get those ini files for us. So let's just do, I'm going to do it in a screen, -s, call it server. And then we'll do, oops. Okay, yeah, I see what I did wrong. I forgot to add the little period just before the / there. Control X, Y, enter. All right, now we're good to go. Now for the config, I'm sorry. For the actual console, I mean, this is all this thing ever shows. Sometimes this pops up when you have the file sizes limited. That's why we upped them to 100,000. However, it still comes up, but don't worry about it. It's like a bug or something. I'm not really sure. But the server does indeed boot up, so you don't need to worry about it. So since this doesn't actually output anything but what you see here, if we do Control A, then D to detach from that screen, and we do a top command real quick, you can see that the server is running right here. So you see me, I'm logged in, accessing the top, and the actual server itself under the screen is running using this percent CPU and this percent of RAM. So we do Control C to close, get out of the top here. If we go back some directories here, now we have that save folder there under the shooter game. So we do cd saved, and then cd config, and then cd linux server. Cd linux server. And here's all of our INI files. This is the main one here, and then you just nano these files. So nano game user settings at INI. You can come in here and edit all this stuff to what you whatever you want, whatever settings you need to make. Not every single config option is going to be in here by default. You might have to add some. For example, the game.ini file is empty by default, so you will need to populate this if you want to add extra settings in here. And same thing with the engine.ini file is also going to be empty by default. So you will need to play around with your configs files to set up the server exactly how you want it to be. But for this case, since this is just a simple tutorial, I'm not going to go through setting up an entire server with all the settings. If you need to find the settings for each of these, you can Google search them for like default settings or custom settings, things like to that nature. And then you just simply start and stop your server to update the settings. So if you want to if you want to stop the server, you need to go back into your screen. So we can do screen-ls to see all of our running screens. And you can see we have here server. So we do screen-r. We get back into that screen, and we can do Control A, and then hit K. This is going to kill the server. So if we just hit yes on this, boom, kills the screen, server shut down. So that's how you turn off the server. And then to start it back up again, you just need to go back to the folders here. And then we have our start server script. You can just run the script again. Now you can put this in the main folder if you wanted to. You just have to change out the directory of this actual script. So for me, start server, this directory here, because I'm in that directory, so I just listed out that directory like that. But if you wanted to go to the main directory, you'd have to, type out the whole thing. Like for example, we'll do /home/ARK server/ shooter game, etc., etc. You gotta type out the whole directory there. So if you didn't want it actually in this, if you wanted like in your main folder here, for example, so it's just easier to access. You don't have to go through all the directories. You can do that if you want to. It's your choice. Well, that's it, guys. That's how you set up an ARK server. I appreciate everyone watching, and I will see you on the next one.